Good afternoon. This is Abhinindra Som and you're listening to the news in detail on Gold FM.
The news headlines on Gold FM.
HSBC reconfirms CEO's $286 oil claim to Hero News. CPC concedes to purchasing diesel at that rate. First crude oil shipment since outbreak of Middle East conflict arrives today. Around 4 billion worth of heroin found from vessel. The Dadruai tragedy toll rises to 8 deaths. Indian Vice President to visit Sri Lanka. Fragile ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon now in effect. Trump to go to Islamabad if a deal is reached.
The top story on Gold FM.
Sri Lanka State Energy Company has confirmed that refined oil was indeed purchased at $286 per barrel, a claim put forward by the group's CEO of HSBC and subsequently reported by multiple foreign media outlets. The chairman of the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation, DJ Raja Karuna, made the admission at a press conference in Colombo today, confirming that refined oil, diesel in particular, was indeed acquired at the price that had been widely reported. This is the CPC chairman's remarks, which we have left undubbed for maximum clarity.
අපි බොරතෙල් කිසිම ආකාරයකින් බැරල් එකක් ඩොලර් 286ට අරගෙන නැහැ. මේ අර්බුදය පටන් ගත්තට පස්සේ අපිට තුන්වෙනි මාසේ 11 වෙනිදා අපිට නැවක් ආවා. මර්බන් ක්‍රූඩ් එකක් කුජර වලින් ලෝඩ් කරලා ඒකේ බැරල් එකක් උනේ ඩොලර් 66.99ක්. ඊට පස්සේ බොරතෙල් සැපුව බැන හිටියා. ඊට පස්සේ අද තමයි බොරතෙල් නැවක් එන්නේ. අද තව ටිකකින් අපිට බොරතෙල් නැවක් පැමිණෙනවා. ඒකේ ප්‍රයිස් එක වෙලා තියෙන්නේ බැරල් එකක් ඩොලර් 71.99. එතකොට ඊට පස්සේ අපිට ආපහු මේ මාසේ අන්තිමේ නැවක් එනවා. ඒකට අපි ඕපන් කරලා තියෙන්නේ බැරල් එකක් ඩොලර් 71.81යි. ලබන මාසේ මැද තව නැවක් එනවා. ඒකට අපි LC ඕපන් කරලා තියෙන්නේ ඩොලර් 113.29. එතකොට ඊට පැහැදිලි මෙතන බොරතෙල් ගැනීමක් කිසිසේත්ම අපි ඔය කියන ගණන් වලට අරගෙන නැහැ. අපි දැන් හොයලා බැලුවාම HSBC ආයතනයෙන් මාධ්‍ය නිවේදනයක් දාලා තියෙනවා. එතුමන්ලා කියලා නෑ බොරතෙල් කියලා. එතුමන්ලා කියන්නේ තෙල් මිලදී ගැනීමක් වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඒක හරි. එතකොට ඒක බොරතෙල් කියලා එක්කෝ හිතාමතා කරලා තියෙනවා. එක්කෝ නැත්තම් තොරතුරු හරියට අවබෝධ කර ගැනීමකින් තොරව කරලා තියෙනවා. තෙල් කිව්වම තෙල් වර්ග ඕන තරම් තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ තෙල් බැරලයක්. එහෙම නැතුව අර තුමන්ලා කරපු ප්‍රකාශයේ ගැටලුවක් නෙවෙයි මෙතන තියෙන්නේ.
මොකක්කෝ තෙල් වර්ගයක් කේමීට අරන් තියෙනවද?
අනිවාර්යෙන් අරන් තියෙනවා. අරන් තියෙන හේතුව ලෝක බෙලඳ පොලේ මිල ගිහිුවා. ඒකට මෙතන පැහැදිලිවම පේනවා ඩීසල් මිල විශාල වශයෙන් වැඩි වෙලා තියෙනවා. එතකොට දැන් අපි තෙල් ලබා ගන්න විදිය ගත්තම අපි සිංගල් ටෙන්ඩර් ගත්තයින් පස්සේ 5 day average එක ගන්න. ගොඩ බාන වෙලාවේ දවස් 5ක් ඇතුළත තියෙන ඇවරේජ් එක ගන්න. එතකොට මම ඇවරේජ් ප්‍රයිස් ගත්තොතින් ඩීසල් පෙබරවාරි මාසයේ තිබුණේ බැරල් එකක් උනේ 88.83. මාර්තු මාසයේ ඇවරේජ් එක වෙනවා 191.73. අප්‍රේල් මාසයේ මේ වෙනකන් ඇවරේජ් එක තියෙනවා 199.7.0. එතකොට ඩීසල් ප්‍රයිස් එක විශාල වශයෙන් වැඩි වෙලා. මේ මිල අපි කාටවත් පාලනය කරන්න බෑ. මේ කාලය තුල. එතකොට වැඩිම වෙලා තියෙන්නේ අප්‍රේල්, මාර්තු, අග අප්‍රේල් මුල. මේ දවස් 5ට නැවක් ආවනම් ඒ නැවේ මිල අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම ඒ ගණන් වලට යනවා. ඒක කාටවත් නවත්තන්න බෑ. ප්‍රීමියම් වගේ ලෝක වෙළඳ පොලේ මිල දෙක එකතු වුණාට පස්සේ මිල වැඩි වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඒක අපිට පාලනය කරන්න පුළුවන් එකක් නෙවෙයි. ඒ දැන් අපිට ඒ විදිහට තෙල් ගත්තේ නැත්නම් රටේ තෙල් සැපයීමක් නැති වෙනවා. අතන පැහැදිලි කරනවා තෙල් බැරලයක් කියලා. තෙල් බැරලය කිව්වයින් පස්සේ එතන හරියට ස්පෙસિෆයි කරන්නේ නැහැ මොන තෙල්ද කියලා. බොර තෙල්ද, පෙට්‍රල්ද, ඩීසල්ද, පොල් තෙල්ද එහෙම පැහැදිලි කිරීමක් කරන්නේ නැහැ.
Hero News in the meantime obtained the following transcript, as well as confirmation from the HSBC press office headquarters in London that the group CEO indeed made the statement. Accordingly, we obtained the following transcript. And I quote, "Realistically, if you want to try to get oil from the Middle East, you may be paying $140-150. Realistically, if you try to get oil from the Red Sea, you're paying more than $30-40 for shipping, Insurance costs, which used to be 25 basis points, is more like 5%. And war insurance has been scrapped. So you find you're paying 5% without even the war insurance component. So the barrel of oil door to door or the barrel of refined oil door to door is way above the headline. Twice the highest I've seen. And I'm hoping we don't see more of that. But I've seen this. $286 a barrel. So $286 for a barrel of oil that reached Sri Lanka, unquote. Now meanwhile, a crude oil tank is expected to arrive on Sri Lankan shores today, ending a period during which shipments had been disrupted due to the conflict in the Middle East. The vessel departing from the UAE, Sri Lanka's primary source of crude imports, is carrying approximately 97,500 metric tons of crude oil. In the meantime, the government's QR code fuel rationing system, which had been suspended since the 11th of this month for the festive season, is set to resume from midnight tomorrow. The odd-even number plate rationing system, however, remains in effect as it did.
This is the local news on Gold FM.
Search teams recovered the bodies of all 8 individuals who went missing after being swept away in the Tadruoya at Kobigana. 6 bodies were retrieved this morning following the discovery of 2 others yesterday evening. Now, the victims, part of a 15-member group from Kadawatha visiting relatives, encountered difficulties while bathing at the Kuratiagahamulla entry point. Among the deceased are 4 men, 3 women and 3 school children aged 9, 13 and 18. Police confirmed 2 survivors received treatment at the Nikavarattiya Base Hospital before being discharged earlier today. Now, these incidents bring the total number of drowning deaths to 24 since the beginning of the Sinhala and Tamil New Year festive season on the 12th of April. As the holiday weekend commences, Sri Lanka's life-saving Chief Executive Officer Sankana Nakkara urged the public to exercise extreme caution when entering the water during excursions. The Navy brought the multi-day fishing vessel Denuwan Puta into the Dikkovita harbour this morning after intercepting it in deep waters south of Sri Lanka with a massive haul of narcotics. Officials reported over 161 kilograms of heroin valued at more than 4 billion rupees packed into 150 packets across 6 sacks. 4 suspects were taken into custody along with a satellite phone used for communication during the operation. Investigations by the Police Narcotic Bureau revealed the vessel departed Nilvalla on the 31st of March and received the drugs and 1,400 litres of fuel from an Iranian craft at sea. The suspect residents of Devinur and Gandhara allegedly operated under the direction of an alleged drug trafficker known as Pollatumodara Sarath, reportedly assisted by alleged overseas-based criminal Kudu Salindu. The vessel's skipper reportedly received 2 million rupees for the transport, with a further promise of 50 million rupees upon successful delivery. Indian Vice President Sri C.P. Radhakrishnan is set to arrive in Sri Lanka this Sunday for a 2-day official visit to strengthen diplomatic ties. He will hold high-level discussions with President Anura Kumara Dissanayake and Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya. The visit focuses on bilateral cooperation, including the exchange of several agreements, specifically targeting development projects and rehabilitation efforts following Cyclone Titwa. Now, more than 1,300 flights to and from Sri Lanka have been cancelled since the Middle East crisis erupted. But as Gulf airspace slowly reopens, questions are mounting over whether the country is doing enough to turn disruption into opportunity, positioning itself as an alternative aviation hub before the window closes. Gold FM spoke to aviation authorities, academics and industry veterans. The Director General of the Civil Aviation says the worst may be over, but the numbers tell a sobering story.
Today, I can say the number of flight cancellations up to date is 1,330 to Middle East sector. All the Middle East carriers, including the foreign and the local base carriers, there were 1,330 were cancelled. We can see a positive trend now. Earlier, the impact was 60 to 70%. and now it has reduced to 30%. And if you compare the passenger arrivals during the past week, we can see a positive trend. Now the impact further reduces to 20%.
But while cancellations ease, the knock-on effects run deeper. Former Director General of Civil Aviation and US-based travel industry veteran Upul Dharmadasa says Sri Lanka is hemorrhaging capacity and the passengers aren't coming back on their own. Dharmadasa puts a number on exactly how much connectivity Sri Lanka is losing daily and where it hurts the most.
So many passengers who are stranded now. Per day, we are losing about 4,000 seats coming into Colombo. Emirates has 5 flights, Qatar 4 or 5. Etihad also 4 flights. So combined number of seats are over 4,000 seats per day when you look at the number of capacity. So we are losing a big time. Where are those passengers go? So they are all either stranded or cancel their plans, which means our tourism also drops.
And yet, for the flights that are operating, business is booming. Dharmadasa says airlines routing through Colombo are making record money, proof that the demand exists if Sri Lanka can capture it. With Gulf hubs out of action, Colombo has become a price routing point, and ticket prices reflect it.
Sri Lanka is already making big money. If you look at Colombo, they're selling about almost $3,000 per piece. So that's big time they are taking advantage of the situation. That's one thing. I mean, every flight is full and they're making good money. On the Paris flight, they are making good money. Flight is full. Frankfurt is full. They're making every flight is making the money maker. London is extremely full. You cannot get a seat.
Dharmadasa argues that there is an even more immediate play, one that doesn't require building anything new. With Emirates and Qatar grounded across the globe, the airport slots at major European cities are getting empty. The former aviation chief says Sri Lankan Airlines should move now to code-share into those vacant slots before they are reallocated.
Yes. If you take an example about Emirates, Qatar, Etihad, the government has invited and there were discussions on with these foreign missions and through the embassies, high commissions, and also from the Foreign Affairs Ministry and our line ministry, Ports and Civil Aviation Line Ministry. They are working on this matter and very soon we'll be inviting them.
So the ideas are on the table, but what is actually being done? Captain Rambu Kwella says the government has formally reached out to the Gulf's biggest carriers. The Director General confirms diplomatic channels are active, but concrete agreements are yet to materialize.
Because of the traffic, their slots are down. So we utilize those slots in those major cities, Paris, Frankfurt, all those cities. Like Emirates can fly on UL flight number. Emirates and Qatar can carry on the code-share UL flights now because their slots are open now. The problem in any airport is to get the slots, the space for check-in purpose, all that. So those check-in counters are open now. Nobody's flying. Since Qatar and Emirates are flying, their slots are pretty open. Everywhere, all around the globe.
Now the demand is there clearly, but is the infrastructure? We also spoke to Dr. Anuja Fernando of the University of Moratuwa, who says Sri Lanka already has what it needs. Airports including one built to handle the world's largest aircraft.
When we consider about the Middle East crisis, how we get the opportunities to Sri Lanka is now up to date. We have 5 airports. So when we consider, we can ask other routes like Europe, they can bypass Middle East airport and they can deviate through our airports. And for the technical stop also, they can come here and we can be an alternative transit hub for the European flights. So new routes can be developed to our airspace. So that is the main opportunity I had seen from this Middle East crisis. So if you consider about technical stop, Matala Rajapaksa International Airport is having a high technical state-art of technology. It can be landed A380, that is the world's largest aircraft. So we can use that facility for this new route and transit hub. So air cargo in the civil aviation sector can be utilized for this war period.
Now for some news in brief.
The Colombo Magistrates Court rejected the bail application of Nuwara Pradesh Sabha chairman Velu Yogaraj, ordering that he be further remanded until the 20th of April over corruption allegations.
The business news on Gold FM.
International oil benchmarks recorded a downturn today, with Brent crude prices falling to $98.67, marking a 0.72% decrease. While West Texas Intermediate drop also saw a significant dip, trading at $93.55 per barrel after a drop of 1.20%.
International news on Gold FM.
A fragile 10-day ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon is currently in effect following weeks of intense cross-border conflict. President Donald Trump describes the truce as a historic day for Lebanon and suggests that the US is now very close to securing a broader deal with Iran. Speaking at an event in Las Vegas, the American leader expressed optimism that the regional war could end soon. President Trump further claims that Iran agreed to hand over its enriched uranium or nuclear dust.
Entertainment news on Gold FM.
Oscar-winning winner Sandra Bullock told the CNBC Changemakers Summit that industry professionals must lean into artificial intelligence rather than resist it. Reacting to a fan-made digital trailer for a Practical Magic sequel, the actress described the technology as an inevitable tool for constructive and creative use.
Sports news on Gold FM.
Novak Djokovic faces a race against time to recover from a right shoulder injury ahead of next week's Madrid Open. The 24-time Grand Slam champion arrived in Spain following recent withdrawals from the tournaments in Miami and Monte Carlo. That's it from the news desk for now. This is Avinindra Soma for Gold FM News. Stay tuned to Gold FM for the latest updates and the next news highlights.